Hi, welcome to English Composition. I'm Michael Cheng. I'm with Cher Chen today.
欢迎各位同学，我是 Cher。
All right, today we are working on Unit 14, and we will introduce to you the comparison contrast paper. And today you will learn two methods of organizing the comparison contrast paper.
好，我们今天呢要讲的是第14课。这个单元之中，我们将来介绍对比论说文。在这个单元中，各位同学将会学到2种架构对比论说文的方法。
All right, today we're going to start off with our writing focus.
好，首先呢，我们先从写作重点开始。
All right, so our main goal for comparison contrast paper is to show the similarities and the differences between two subjects.
好，我们在写作所谓的对比论说文的时候呢，我们主要的目的就是要比较2种东西的相似以及相异处。
And we have two main methods of organizing a comparison contrast paper, and these are the block method and the point-by-point method.
好，关于比较这2种东西哦，比较或是架构对比论说文的方式呢，有2种，一种就是所谓的整体性的比较，另外一种就是点对点的比较。
All right, so on your screen you can see two pictures to illustrate these two methods. And so in the block method, you have two big blocks to indicate how you are going to divide up your topic.
好，现在各位同学在荧幕上看到的呢，就是我们等一下会讲到2种不一样的架构方式哦。首先我们看到的这是第一种，叫做整体性的比较。所谓整体性的比较，就是把你要比较的2样东西以2个区块作为区分。
And so here you can see the two blocks are moving around. And so this means that first we say everything about one subject in a single paragraph, and that's our first block. And then we say everything about our second subject in another paragraph, which is the second block that you see.
好，现在各位同学在荧幕上看到2个在浮动的方块哦。在这个我们刚刚讲到整体性的比较方式呢，也就是说，当我们在比较其中第一样东西的时候，我们把它写在同一个区块里面；那我们要讲的是另外一样东西的时候，我们则写在另外一个区块之中。
Right, let's make this example more concrete. And let's say that you want to compare two types of cars, a Toyota and a Nissan, for example.
好，我们现在来举个例子，让同学有更明白的了解哦。那我们现在假设我们要比较2种车，一种是 Toyota， 另外一个是 Nissan。
So in the block method, you'll write all your thoughts about Toyota in one block, and then you'll put all your thoughts about Nissan in the next block.
在整体性的比较的写法之中呢，你将会在同一个区段之中都在描述 Toyota 这台车，那另外一个区段你则完全的在描述 Nissan 这一台车。
Right, now let's go on and talk about the point-by-point method.
好，接下来我们来看看另外一种方法，也就是所谓点对点的比较。
And the point-by-point method can be illustrated by a lot of different arrows.
好，我们在做点对点的比较呢，我们可以用不一样的这些箭头来做一个阐述。
And so these arrows mean that you have many points that you want to write about in your essay. And each of these arrows represents a different point.
好，我们从这些箭头我们会发现每一个箭头都代表你有一个看法，一个重点。那像在这里呢，我们会看到你总共有4个重点可以去做阐述。
All right, and when you're writing, you want to write about how your subjects are related to each other in a single point. And then you'll start another paragraph, and you will compare your two subjects about this point, and then continue on until you've covered all the points in your essay.
好，在每一个重点里头呢，你会发现哦，这个重点之中，你将会去探讨这两样要比较的东西，它们各自有什么跟这个重点有什么样的关联性。那在这个重点之下做讨论。那到下一个重点的时候，你一样会去探讨说这2样东西在这一项重点之中有什么样的关联性。
All right, so let's make this example more concrete again by talking about our Nissan and Toyota cars.
好，我们再一次把 Toyota 跟 Nissan 这2台车拿出来做一个例子。
And so our first point, what we could do is we could compare the quality of Toyota's versus Nissan cars.
好，首先呢，我们可能会想要探讨它们之间的比较哦，之间的关系。我们先探讨它们的品质上面的关系。
All right, then in our second point, we could make this about innovation. And again, in this point, we're comparing the innovation of Toyota versus the innovation of Nissan.
好，接下来我们想要探讨的可能是他们之间在创新这件事情的关联性。
And in point 3, we can compare how comfortable a Toyota is versus how comfortable the Nissan is.
在下一点，我们可能想要探讨的是 Toyota 的车的舒适度跟 Nissan 的车的舒适度。
And then in our last point, we can compare the price of these two cars.
在最后一点，也许我们可以来探讨的是在价格上面的差异性。
Okay, so now what we're going to do is look at these two methods of organizing papers in greater depth.
好，接下来呢，我们会再更仔细的来看一下这两种方式的不同。
All right, so let's begin by examining the block method.
首先，我们先来看整体性的比较方式。
All right, so now in the block method, what you want to do is divide your paper into two paragraphs. This means that you take all your ideas about your first subject and place them in your first body paragraph, and then you put all your ideas about the second subject into another body paragraph.
好，在整体性比较的架构之中呢，你会将文章的主体部分分成两个段落，那将你对其中一项物品的看法写在第一个主体段落，那你对另外一个物品第二件物品的看法呢，则写在另外一个段落之中。
All right, and so you should organize both of your paragraphs in the same manner, and this means that you should go over the same topics in each of your body paragraphs.
好，在这两个段落之中呢，它的写作方式应该是一样的。这也就是说，在比较两者的时候呢，要比较的项目必须是相同的。
Right, the advantage of the block method is that your reader can get a complete picture of each topic all at once.
整体性比较的优点呢，是你的读者可以一次就对这两件事物有一个完整的了解。
And the disadvantage of the block method is that your reader might forget all the points you made about the first topic by the time he or she is finished reading your second paragraph.
好，那在缺点的方面呢，则是当你的读者读到下一个段落的时候，可能已经忘记前一个段落中讲到的重点了。
All right, now let's look at how you should organize a block method comparison contrast paper.
好，那接下来我们来看一下，当我们在写整体性比较的对比论说文的时候，应该怎么样来写作它。
Right, now the first thing that you want to do is choose a strategy for your introductory paragraph.
首先你要做的第一件事呢，就是替你的开头引言选择一个适当的策略来进行。
And so, for example, you can start your paper with some general statement about the topic, and then finish the introductory paragraph with your thesis statement.
好，那第一个方式呢，我们可以这么做在开头处概括的去谈论这个主题，然后接下来以表明主旨叙述来结束你的引言段落。
And you can review Unit 4 for more information about writing introductory paragraphs.
如果各位同学对于写作主引言段落呢有问题的话，可以回去看第4课的内容这部分有谈论很多。
All right, now let's look at your second paragraph. And for your second paragraph, write a topic sentence that tells the main idea of the paragraph.
好，那在你的第二个段落之中呢，你首先必须要先写下主题句。
Then you should explain each point that you want to make about your subject.
好，那接下来呢，你就应该要去写出来你想要讨论的关于这个主题你想要讨论的几个重点。
And finally, you can finish with a conclusion if you think that it will help make your paragraph more clear.
在这个段落的最后呢，你可以加上一个结尾如果你觉得加上结尾可以让你的段落显得更加完整的话那就请加入结尾，没有问题。
Right, so now as an example, let's say that you're writing about Toyota and Nissan again. And so that means that in paragraph 2, we will only write about Toyotas.
好，那我们再把刚刚 Toyota 跟Nissan的例子拿出来再试一次那在如果说像这样子的写法之中呢，在这个第二个段落之中当你写到 Toyota 的时候呢，你必须整个段落都要 focus 在 Toyota 这台车上面。
Right, and so after we write our topic sentence, our first point can be about the quality of a Toyota.
OK， 那在这个部分呢，我们可以在第一个重点的地方讨论到的是它的品质。
The second point can be about the comfort of a Toyota.
第二点，我们可以讨论到它的舒适度。
And the third point can be about the cost of a Toyota.
第三点可以讨论到的是它的价格。
And then we have our conclusion after that.
最后就加入所谓的结论。
All right, and so then when we go on to our third paragraph, you should organize it the same way as your second paragraph.
好，到了第二个主体段落，也就是所谓的第3段的时候呢，我们的这个整个组织的方式是跟上一个段落是一样的。
And so this means that your points 1, 2, and 3 should cover the same points 1, 2, and 3 of your previous paragraph.
这代表的意思也就是说，这个段落中的第一点、第二点、第三点的主题必须和第二个段落中的1、2、3点是相同的。
Right, so now again, if you're writing about cars, and this paragraph will be about Nissan, and you can see we have the same points: quality, comfort, and cost of the Nissan.
好，那接下来如果刚刚我们讨论完 Toyota 的车，在这个段落之中我们要探讨的是 Nissan 的车的话，那在这个段落中你要探讨的跟 Toyota 是相同的，我们会探讨在品质、舒适度以及价格方面其他这几个重点。
All right, and for your last paragraph, you should choose a strategy for your concluding paragraph.
好，那到了最后的结尾段落的部分呢，你必须一样选择一个适当的策略来写作它。
And for example, you can use the conclusion paragraph to briefly review the main points of your essay.
举例来讲呢，你可以利用结论简短的来回顾这篇文章中的所有重点。
And you can review writing a concluding paragraph in Unit 6 of your textbook.
关于写作结论的部分呢，如果各位同学有问题的话，可以看到我们课本的第6课这边有更详细的解说。
Right, we'll take a little break now, and when we come back, we'll learn about the point-by-point method.
好，我们先休息一下，待会回来我们再继续看下一个写作方式。
Let's learn about writing the point-by-point comparison essay now.
好，欢迎各位同学回来。现在我们要看的是点对点的比较的写作方式。
Right, so now in the point-by-point method, the body of your paper will have one paragraph for each point that you want to make about your subject.
在点对点比较的文章之中呢，主体论述里的每一个段落都从某一个角度来分析或比较这两件事物。
For example, suppose you're comparing Toyotas and Nissans, and you have 3 points that you want to compare. The body of your paper will consist of 3 paragraphs, one for each of your points.
好，我们现在一样呢，再拿 Toyota 跟 Nissan 来做例子哦。假设针对这2台车，你有3个重点想要去比较它们，那你的主体论述中就应该会有3个段落，每个段落会分别讲述一个重点。
In each body paragraph, you will discuss how Toyota relates to your point, and then you will discuss how Nissan relates to your point.
在每一个段落之中呢，你都会去探讨 Toyota 跟这个重点有什么样的关系，同时你也会去探讨 Nissan 跟这个重点有什么关系。
Right, now, the advantage of the point-by-point method is that you can show very strong contrast between your subjects.
在点对点比较的这个写作方式呢，在优点上面呢，2件物品的不同之处可以立刻的显现出来。
Now, the big disadvantage of the point-by-point method is that your paper can get confusing if you don't have much to say about each point and you keep jumping back and forth between your 2 subjects. If you keep jumping back and forth between Toyota and Nissan, for example.
缺点呢，也就是说，如果你对这个题材其实没有太多的意见可以去阐述的话，你的文章就会在2件物品仅有的几个特点上不断的打转，会让你的读者感觉到有点困惑。举例来讲，刚刚的 Toyota 跟 Nissan， 如果你对这2个东西并没有很多的意见要去阐述，那读者就会在文章中看到不断的跳来跳去，一下从 Toyota 一下切换到 Nissan， 会让读者觉得很困惑。
Right, so now let's look and see how we should organize the point-by-point comparison paper.
好，接下来我们来看一下该如何去架构这个点对点的比较方式。
Now, the first thing that we're going to do is choose a strategy for your introductory paragraph.
好，那首先一样的，我们要先选择写作开头引言的一个适当的策略。
And so, for example, we can start your paper with some general statement about the topic, and then we can finish the introductory paragraph with your thesis statement.
我们可以使用的方式呢是像这样子的，在开头的地方概括的谈论这个主题，然后呢以表明主旨来结束你的引言。
And so you can see that this is the same way that we started the block-by-block paper. And again, you can find out more strategies for your introductory paragraph in Unit 4 of your textbook.
各位同学会发现其实这个方式跟我们刚刚在做整体性比较的时候使用的策略是一样的。那一样，各位同学如果有问题的话，请回到课本第4课你可以看到相关的讯息。
Or now, for your second paragraph, you're going to write a topic sentence that tells the main idea of the paragraph.
好，那在接下来的这个主体段落之中呢，首先你要先写上一个主题句。
Right, and then explain how subject A and B compare or contrast on that one point that you're making.
接下来你要解释一下 A 跟 B 两件物品它们之间相同以及相异的地方。
And then finally, you can finish with a conclusion if you think that this will make your paragraph clearer.
当然到了最后你也可以加上一句结尾句，如果这样子可以让你的段落写得更加的完整的话，那就请加上结尾句。
And also remember, try to write about the same amount of information about subject A and subject B.
那同时各位同学也应该记得哦，在每一段论述之中呢 A 跟 B 两个谈论的篇幅哦，应该是要差不多的。
Right, now let's take a look at a more concrete example. So let's say that we're writing about cars again, and that this paragraph is going to be about the quality of the two cars that we're comparing.
好，那我们举例来讲，再一次我们拿 Toyota 跟 Nissan 来做比较。首先呢，我们要先探讨的一个重点是 quality， 是品质的部分。
Right, so that means we'll start off with a topic sentence that's about quality.
好，那就代表说呢，我们会用一个讲述重点、讲述品质的这个主题句来当做开头。
And then after that, we're going to have discuss subject A, which is the quality of Toyota cars.
好，接下来我们会先讲到这个 A 物品的一个差异哦，也就是 Toyota 的品质。
Right, now we're going to go on to the second subject, and so then we'll continue the same paragraph with information about the quality of Nissan automobiles.
好，那在同一个段落里面呢，接下来我们要探讨的是另外一台车 Nissan 它的一个品质方面。
And then we can end this paragraph with a conclusion that summarizes everything we wrote about.
最后呢，我们可以加上一句结尾句，来把我们刚刚所讨论的 Toyota 跟 Nissan 的差异性哦，做一个总结。
Right, now we're going to go on and organize our third paragraph in the same way that we organized our second paragraph.
好，在第三段之中呢，我们使用的方式跟第二段是一样的。
So we can see that this paragraph is going to be about comfort, so we begin with the topic sentence that talks about comfort.
好，那在这个部分呢，我们知道我们要讨论的论点是关于舒适度，所以我们的主题句就会关于舒适度。
And now we're going to have subject A, which is the comfort of the Toyota automobile. You can also notice that in the last paragraph we talked about Toyotas first, so this paragraph will also talk about the Toyota first.
好，接下来呢，我们会先来探讨 Toyota 它的这个舒适度。在我们上一个段落之中，我们是先探讨 Toyota， 才轮到 Nissan， 所以在这个段落之中，我们也是照同样的顺序来写。
Right, now we'll continue and we write about subject B, and so this is about the comfort of the Nissan automobile.
接下来我们探讨的是 Nissan 它的舒适度。
Right, and then we can also conclude this paragraph with a conclusion.
最后呢，我们一样加入一个结尾句。
All right, and now we're going to continue on to paragraph 4, and so we can see in the point-by-point method we have more paragraphs, and this paragraph is going to be about cost.
好，接下来我们还有第四个段落哦。我们会发现，在点对点的文章之中呢，通常段落数是会比较多的。那在这个段落之中，我们要探讨的是价格的部分。
Okay, and so again, this is organized just like the previous two paragraphs. We begin with our topic sentence, which is about cost.
好，那跟前面两个段落是一样的。主题句我们先把花费这个点出来。
And then this is followed by first discussing the cost of the Toyota, and then we follow it with information about the cost of the Nissan, and then we conclude it.
好，那接下来的写作方式还是一样的。首先我们先探讨 Toyota 的价格，接着我们再探讨 Nissan 的价格，最后我们再提供一个结尾句。
All right, and now let's go and talk about our last paragraph, and this is the concluding paragraph of the point-by-point essay.
好，我们最后呢要看到的也就是这整篇文章的结论了。
And we can do this by writing a concluding paragraph that briefly reviews the main points of your essay, and then we can make sure that we show how the thesis statement is true. And again, this is very similar to what we had in the block essay.
好，我们在这个地方呢，我们可以利用结论简短的来回顾这篇文章中提到的所有重点，并且我们再一次的去验证我们的主旨叙述是正确的。
You can review writing a concluding paragraph by looking at Unit 6 of your textbook.
好，那各位同学一样的，如果对于写作结尾的部分有问题，可以看一下课本第6课。
All right, let's take a break now, and we will continue with more English composition in a few moments.
好，我们先休息一下，待会我们再回来继续。
Okay, Okay, welcome back. What we're going to do now is we are going to read the writing models to you, but before we do that, we're going to give you a preview of some ideas that ended up in our writing models.
好，欢迎各位同学回来。首先呢，我们接下来的这个部分呢，我们会为各位同学讲解写作范例的部分哦。但是在开始进入到写作范例之前呢，我们先让各位同学对于写作范例的内容有一些清楚的了解。
Right, so let's take a look at some pictures that are related to our essay. All right, and here we see some people from a very primitive, probably a hunter-gatherer society.
好，我们现在来看几张图片，跟我们等一下的写作范例内容有关哦。首先，我们现在看到这张图片呢，之中有几个原始人，你可以看到这些原始人正在准备要去打猎。
As you can see, some different activities that are being done by men and women.
你可以发现男性跟女性他们的行为呢是不太一样的。
Okay, and so here you see the man is probably a hunter. You see women who are working, doing some kind of work on mats. This is probably near their camp.
好，我们会发现男性呢已经拿起了长矛准备要打猎了，女性呢好像似乎在做一些手工的行为那他们可能是在他们的这个居住的营地附近。
And so if we try to think about some of the differences that evolved in humans, maybe we can think that men had to become maybe stronger and faster, and maybe had to talk eloquently so they could be leaders and hunters.
好，我们从那图片呢，我们可以得到一个猜测哦，就是说男性呢，他们因为必须要去做打猎的动作，所以呢，他们应该必须比较强壮那必须要具备一些这个领导能力。
And then maybe something about women is that women had to be maybe more emotionally cooperative, or they had to be more nurturing because they ended up taking care of the kids.
好，在女性的方面呢，我们可以发现女生呢，应该是要显得比较的温和，比较的能够去照顾周围的人照顾小孩子。
All right, and so then we can see that if we're writing about the differences between men and women, maybe we'd focus on how they're different physically. We could also look at how they're different emotionally and maybe also mentally.
好，我们会发现呢，如果我们要来描述男性跟女性的差别呢，也许我们可以从他们生理上、他们的情绪上以及他们的智能发展上面来做一些描述。
All right, let's take a look at our writing model now.
好，接下来呢，就来看一下我们的写作范例。
All right, our block comparison. If you compare men, women, and apes, you will certainly decide that men and women have much more in common than humans and apes. But men and women still have many differences.
我们现在首先看到的是整体性比较的写作方式。好，这里写到呢，如果你将男性、女性以及猿猴之间做比较，你一定会认为男女之间的相同处肯定比人类和猿猴之间的相同处来得多。但是男性和女性其实是有很多不同之处的。
Men excel in athletics that require speed and power. Men hold the world record for sprinting and weightlifting, for example.
男性在需要速度及力量的运动方面都比较杰出，比如说，目前世界短跑及举重的纪录保持人都是男性。
Men are also extremely competitive. When a group of men get together, they will constantly try to outdo each other. Winning a game or contest is very important to men.
男性同时也比较争强好斗。当一群男人集结在一起时，他们会不断地试图要赢过对方。在比赛或竞争中获胜，对男性来讲是非常重要的。
Finally, men think analytically. When a man must make a decision, he will probably sit down and make a list of all the pros and cons of the situation. He will only decide after carefully judging all the facts related to the case.
最后，男性呢是比较善于分析思考。当男性要下决定时，他可能会坐下来，把种种情形的好坏优劣条列出来。他只会在详细的考量过各种相关状况之后，才会做出他最后的决定。
Women are very different from men. Women can match men in sports that require flexibility or endurance. A woman holds the world record for many long-distance swimming events.
女性和男性就不同了。女性在需要灵活度及耐久力的运动之中，可以和男性匹敌。女生在很多长距离的游泳竞赛中都保持着世界纪录。
Women are also less competitive than men. When they are involved in an activity, they can have a good time if they just participate in an activity with their friends.
女性也比男性缺少竞争心。当他们参与活动时，如果能和他们的朋友一起参加，他们就能够有个愉快的时光。
Finally, women rely on intuition more than men. Women will often make judgments on a gut feel for what is best.
最后，女性比男性更加依赖直觉，女性常常凭着一时冲动就决定了什么是最好的选择。
After thousands of years of evolution, there must be some useful reason for all these differences between men and women.
在历经千年的演化之后，男女之间的差异性一定有好的理由可以解释。
These differences probably made the man a better hunter and leader, and the woman a better teacher and caregiver.
这种男女之间的差异性，让男性成为较好的猎捕者以及领导者，女性则成为较合适的老师以及看护人。
Okay, now let's go on, and we are going to read the point-by-point comparison.
好，接下来我们来看一下点对点比较的写作方式。
If you compare men, women, and apes, you will certainly decide that men and women have much more in common than humans and apes, but men and women still have many differences.
如果你将男性、女性以及猿猴做比较，你一定会认为男女之间的相同处肯定比人类和猿猴之间的相同处来得多，但是男性和女性之间其实还是有很多不同处的。
First of all, men are more athletic than women. The average man can run faster, jump higher, throw farther, and carry more than the average women.
第一点，男性比女性更擅长于运动。一般的男性跑得比女性快，跳得比女性高，丢掷的也比较远，而且能提起比较重的东西。
Second, men are usually more competitive than women. A man can really care about whether he wins or loses a contest.
第二点，男生通常比女生来得好斗，男性真的很在乎输赢。
Women, on the other hand, can have a good time if they just participate in an activity with their friends.
另一方面呢，女性若是和朋友共同参与活动，则能够玩得非常愉快。
Finally, men are more analytical than women. A man will rely on hard facts to make a decision, whereas a woman often makes a decision based on an intuitive feeling about the situation.
最后，男性比女性更擅长于分析，男性会将事实依赖着事实再来下决定，女性则常常凭借着对于情绪的直觉就下了决定。
After thousands of years of evolution, there must be some useful reason for all these differences between men and women.
在历经千年的演化之后，男女之间的差异性一定有好的理由可以解释。
These differences probably made the man a better hunter and leader, and the woman a better teacher and caregiver.
这种男女间的差异性，让男性成为较好的猎捕者以及领导者，女性则成为较合适的老师以及看护人。
Okay, so now you've seen two examples of how to write comparison and contrast papers. The first writing model was a block comparison where we put all the information about men in one paragraph and all the information about women in another paragraph.
好，我们就从刚刚的两个写作范例中就可以发现第一个写作范例讲的是整体性的叙述，在第一个写作范例里面，第二个段落还完全都是讲述男性，第三个段落则完全讲述女性。
All right, and then the second writing model is a point-by-point comparison, and you can see that we compared men and women directly in each of our points.
好，在第二个点对点的比较方式之中呢，你则可以发现我们在每一个段落都会比较其中一个重点。
All right, so let's take a moment and talk about your homework now. What you should do, first of all, is review all the material in this unit.
好，各位同学，这礼拜回家的作业呢，请你们先复习一下在这个单元中提到的所有内容。
All right, and then do the writing analysis exercise, and then also continue by doing the writing activity.
那接下来把写作分析练习以及写作活动都完成。
All right, thanks for joining us this week for English composition. We'll be back with you again in one more week.
好，谢谢各位同学这礼拜的参与，我们下礼拜再见。